I'm reaching out with a video for version 15. We are finally delivering it. This has been on the work since November, and there is a number of objectives that we have achieved. I will go report by report so that we can focus on changes and not waste a lot of time. Regarding data ingestion and stock and change reports, none of these have been changed, so we will skip any activity or review of them. About the question of the why does it take longer to add information over time, the answer is because as our auto dictionary grows longer, the addition of new data has to check the existing dictionary for each new item. So we are already going at 4,000 and so, and that's kind of the main reason why. Upgrades on that we will need to review, but most likely this will happen on the next iteration of the application with a more robust backend. Then we have categories. I have already loaded the reports. We have some improvement on performance of some of the reports, and we'll go over that later. The first improvements I want to point out is readability. We are graying out a bit the zeros. We are raising contrast on the headers. We are also adding notes to the to each column, to each header, so that we can better explain what it is. And we are now looking at the nomenclature of pieces and boxes. For now, categories is as you can see. We have yet to make additional improvements on it, and that's that for this particular option. Then we're gonna go to the restock manager. We haven't changed either. We're gonna go to store reports. Here we used to have the store 8020 report. That is no longer there because it's automatically created at the moment a store report is created. As before, we have the pivot table that we have been working with, and we are applying the color coding, a new color coding, high contrast with explanation of what the fields are. And we have here one of the main changes that we have applied. For now, we are just considering at the store level a flat number that is deficit, and it will always be presented as pieces. Later on, we will check in the restock report if this particular item has boxes or cases. Otherwise, we already know the value by pieces. And here in this report, we see the two columns that provide the information, if it belongs to the top 80% of sales and if it belongs to the top 20% of products. This is counted among the number of products and this is counted among the total sales. We can later on add columns with additional checkups, like if this product is meant to be restocked or what is the RAO that is being used, whether it's a default or an active number, and we could make it perform some other analysis at a store level that take into consideration this data. So that is one of the main changes we had. In the past, we had the information that we see here in the order in that same sheet with the pivot table. In the order, what we are seeing is a filter out of all the items that have a situation where the deficit exists. So that means that there is at least this many products that we should, that we should provide to the store so that it meets the projected sales, like what we have generated from our 6 weeks average value, gave us a suggested stock. This is obtained by multiplying the, let's go to a more active store, by multiplying the 6 weeks average times the RAO general if the item does not have a specified RAO in the outer dictionary entry. So for example, in here it has sold 51 items per day in our 6 week average, and that means that it should be stocked at 408 items. We are considering if there's a local stock. For example, in here, it should only have 32 to meet its projected sales. Since it has 42 on stock, there's no deficit. So that's essentially the key change here. The deficit value is essentially how many items should the store have so that it can actually meet the projected sales times RAO. So in the order, this is the main key value that decides whether an item comes in here. If there's no deficit, there's no order. If there is deficit, an order is placed. Now, in here we have these two values, which is deficit in pieces and total order in pieces. The difference is that this was calculated from the stock versus the suggested stock. And this one is calculated by trying to satisfy this amount with the multiplier provided in the pieces to box column. What does that mean? That means that this item has boxes which contain 10, 6, or another amount of items. So when you make requests for them, you prefer making a request for a single box, even if that's going to take you 2 items above your deficit. Same happens here. You want 8, but since it comes packaged in 6, then you actually are like overstocking to 12. At the time, we are only making the analysis to know whether the item is sold by the piece, so that we can specify that in this column. And when it is sold by the box, we can specify in this column. In the future, with additional information on what products have cases, we could also fill that in here. This is one of the big changes that we have performed, because in the past, we used to have a single column and then a column on the side that indicated the multiplier. So in these cases, the multiplier will be 1. In this case, the multiplier would be 10, and so on and so forth. But that makes it a bit hard to differentiate what is a piece and what is a box. So that's why we made this entirely new restock sheet, so that you can tell the deficit at the store, how many items are actually being ordered by the piece, and in which presentation are these things being ordered based on whether the items have cases, boxes, or not. So that's the 2 main changes. The idea is that if we were to pursue the Excel, we could add more information here in the store report, and then in the restock order, we just go down to distributing the amount of items required among our possible presentations. Finally, we take that information and go into the warehouse reports. The warehouse report this is the one that I was able to work after our meetings in December, as most of the work had been done before. So this one has a few changes from the past. In here, I tried to add the requirements that we spoke of the last time. The first thing is that it is now just a table. So we can just go ahead and add a filter, and we can filter by any field. The second thing is we translated the sales information and we invert the order so that it's sooner goes first, the soonest week, the soonest week is this one, and the oldest week is this one. So as more data grows, the data is added to the right hand of our core table where most valuable information will be found. Then we have that, well, and one additional thing that we can do here, I intended to, but I didn't get to do it, is to add here which products are not intended to be restocked in a single column, so that we can just like filter them out. We can easily go ahead and filter perhaps things that have 0 6 week sales. We can select categories, work it as a normal table. And this is as a result of our last conversation where we were talking about the lack of flexibility on the pivot tables where the formulas were not being properly recalculated. So in this scenario, the WHO report takes all the information for that pivot table and reprints it in this a little bit more accessible format, so that you can actually manage the data with a little bit more freedom. And what else is happening in this table? We have category product variant. One of the things we were able to do successfully across most reports, if not all of them, is that we are no longer being dependent on the key name. Some places it is hidden, some places it does not exist. We are just going for category product and variant. That took a little while because many formulas had to be adapted to work with 3 parameters instead of 1, but it's on the long run better for data volumes instead of just repeating these 3 things in another column. And here we have the 6-week average. This is for sales across all stores, varying percentage. And then we have the stock of the stores and warehouse for the given product. In this case, let's go to disposable, which is our favorite one, right? So in here we have the stocks also for the warehouse, and everything is written down in pieces. We have this exception when it comes down to the data of how many pieces are there in a box and how many cases, I'm sorry, this should say boxes, I will fix it. How many boxes are there in the warehouse. So these are the 2 pieces of information that relate to how many pieces are there in a box. And then we continue reporting in pieces how many have been requested by the total of the stores, the totality of the stores. And here we have the information of how many were requested by a single store. So this WHO report, I believe, is the way we could aim. I mean, like if you wanted to finish adjusting the Excel so that all reports can be consulted in this fashion, it would be only a matter of changing the categories report. And as a matter of fact, I was thinking of making this report like fuse it with this one, so that we have a single report sheet per store. Then we have categories and WHO. Like, so you get to see here the overview of anything related to the high-end, high bird view of the activities of the sales performance. And we could do the same, like category product, then add all these columns, and then add the sales data. Then we could do it at the store report so that we have a single report per store. This is what I was working in integrating reports. And finally, we have the warehouse report. In the warehouse report, we can like have this oversight of all stores at once. And at the same time, we could add additional columns that help filter out as you prefer. So that's that for now. The 80/20 is integrated. Global 80/20 is something that I believe we will be including in WHO. And that's that. The order manager has been updated so that the orders reflect the new pattern of a of data, which includes the deficit and the remaining broken down information in different columns. And it goes ahead and continues to perform the per store request and the warehouse request. And you can, I have already updated the online companion URL so that now you only have to, once you have created a new order with this application, the older ones might be a good idea to delete them. Then you can write warehouse request or store request so that they are written out to the target spreadsheet that you indicate on the manual input for the shop inventory output sheet ID. So that's that. This is a revision 15. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I know that what follows is most likely solutions that may not be found in Excel, but I still find it valuable to talk and observe the way we are mixing information here to derive insights, because that's exactly what we will be transporting to any other solution we provide. Thank you for your time and hope to talk to you soon. Goodbye.